Hi friends, welcome to my channel, and this is part 13 video in VCP8 Data Center Virtualization 2023. And in this video I'm going to show you how to create and deploy VMware distributed switch. So most of the time we understand distributed switch is the complex thing and all, but the working with the distributed switches and deploying the distributed switches and managing the distributed switches is the most easiest way thing which is available on the VMware infrastructure. So it is always going to be best thing to manage your networking infrastructure on vCenter level or your complete VMware infrastructure with the distributed switches only. So this is highly recommended from my end to always use the distributed switch to have a identical setting or configuration across your all the VMware ESXi hosts. So in this picture you can see we got 3 ESXi hosts. On top of that 3 ESXi hosts we have one vSphere distributed switch, and that vSphere distributed switch is basically getting access all the machines or VMs or app having access to that distributed switch. So this is the simple infrastructure. So all your virtual machine are going to talk to distributed switch, and distributed switch is basically going to be deployed on the vCenter level and configured on the ESXi host. So we'll see how we can do that. So before moving on that configuration part, we need to understand few important things like why and where you can use the distributed switches. So basically standard switch versus distributed switches features. So if you see here, the most important thing is licensing. So if you have a VMware standard and all, you cannot use the distributed switch. So for having the distributed switch, you must need to have an enterprise edition license. So this is first thing, and once you have an enterprise license, then you have all the gate pass to deploy the distributed switches. So management, this is the most important thing which I have just discussed. Like a standard switch needs to be managed on each individual host level. So let's say if you have a 10 hosts, you can manage 10 host networking through standard switch. But if you have 100 hosts, or if you have 50 hosts, and there is basically a chances where you can misconfigure your infrastructure or forget to configure anything on one of the ESXi hosts or few of the ESXi hosts, and it can create a mess in your environment someday, right? So this is not the case with the distributed switch. So I'll give you example, like if your network team had one VLAN in your networking infrastructure and all, and now you need to add that particular VLAN, new VLAN created by network team in all the ESXi hosts. If you have 20 hosts, you can go ahead and do it manually, or maybe you can create a script and you can run through a script also. But it is always going to be easy to manage everything from distributed switch. So if you go and just create a new port group in a distributed switch at one place, you're done. It's deployed and automatically going to be configured on all the ESXi hosts which is part of distributed switch. So this is the cool thing which can be achieved from the management point of view from the distributed switch. And licensing I already told. So creation and configuration, standard switch configuration on host level, this is on the vCenter level, and these all almost everything is available. So inbound traffic shaping is not available in the standard switch, but you can do it on distributed switch. And also VM port blocking not available as part of a standard switch, only possible at distributed switch. So VM port blocking you can only do it at this level. And private VLAN mode is not available, and here you can have all the 3 types of private VLAN, like community, isolated, and permissionless mode. You can do it. Load based theming not available in this thing, a standard switch, but in distributed switches you can do load based setting. Network vMotion again here not available in distributed switch. You can per port policy settings available, can be applied on the switch in port group, and here available and applied on the port switch group also, port group level. Net flow not available, port managing. So all these rest features are not available on the standard switch, but in the distributed switch you can do it, like backup and restore network configuration. This is cool thing, you can do it through this network switch API. It's not available on standard switch, but if you are using distributed switch, you can do it through API also. So this is a small again how vSphere standard switch versus distributed switch. So you can see standard switch, virtual switches, all the ESXi host. On top of ESXi host, you can create a vSwitch, and it's going to be manually managed and configured and all. But if you got a ESXi host and vCenter with enterprise edition and you want to deploy a distributed switch, so distributed switch you can basically create on your vCenter level and going to be managed at vCenter level, and you can create a uplink like uplink 1, 2, 3 and port group, and then you can define some port group in a production network, like it can be used by your virtual machine VM connect like management and vMotion and other traffic. And then you got a host bounded with this distributed switch, and at the host at the last end it got a physical network adapter or physical network ports where this basically distributed switch port group is going to be mapped. So I'm going to show you all these detail in action in coming videos, basically coming demo. So this is my environment, the same environment which we have used in last few videos. So one domain controller, one vCenter server, and then we got a 2 ESXi hosts. So let's go and verify this. So to have this done, this is the physical network for ESXi in my environment. So I got total 8 NIC. Out of 8 NIC, last 2 NIC I have already configured with the standard switch in last two videos to configure with the ESXi network and have access to our storage from where the data stores are coming. And next in this video I'm going to be focused on this management network and VM network, and then we will in coming video we will do the vMotion network also through distributed switch only. But in this video I'm going to focus on this network. So this is the task, step by step create and deploy distributed switch. So first thing, we need to create a distributed switch. So let's go ahead and do it. So this is my vCenter infrastructure. If I go to networking, you will see VM network. Currently it's have only VM network, which is by default going to come with your vCenter and ESXi host. So now here on any place you can right click just, and you can go to distributed switch and create a new distributed switch, and I'm going to call it like, you can say prod -ds switch, and then create next and select the version, which version you want to create. So in my infrastructure everything running ESXi 8 and later, so I can go ahead and select ESXi 8 and later. And this is capability for offloading, so I'm not going to select that. Number of port, you can assign how many ports you want. So as I told, like I'm going to configure 4 ports for management and VM network, 2 for each. So I'm going to select 4 ports uplinks basically, and this is if you want to create some group. So I'm not going to create by default port group, we will create it manual. So this is all, just click on finish. Now if you click on finish, you will see here the distributed switch is created. You will see all the information like manufacturer, who is manufacturer, version and other details. And now if I go to configure, you will see here the other all detail like port group, how many port group, uplinks it has. If you want to modify anytime, you can go and modify things from here, like uplink you want to add or extend, add more uplinks. So this is, I got 4 uplinks, so I'm going to rename it to this to match something relevant to the network infrastructure. So I'm going to call it like MGMT1. so this is my management network 1. So this is going to be 2, and this is going to be, you can call it VMnet 1, and this is going to be VMnet 2. So these are the 4 NICs, and I have renamed it to get easily recognized. So these are the 4 NICs you can see: management 1, management 2, VMnet 1, VMnet 2. So now the next task is to create rename uplink, which we have already did. Now create a distributed switch port group. So port group I'm going to create. So for port group, we need to go to distributed port group and then add a new distributed port group. So call it like something like, you can call it MGMT PG, means port group. and then click next and leave these options default. And if you have any customized VLAN, you can assign it. So in my LAN environment, lab environment, I have only VLAN like a native VLAN 0. So I'm going to select default. I don't think you need to select anything here. Just click on next and finish. And same thing if you want to create for like VM network, so you can create a VM network like VMnet PG and then click next and finish. Now you'll see here the PG network having MGMT network having access to all 4. This is wrong, and same thing here. So how you can modify this? So management port group should have access to management NIC only, and VM port group should have access to this only. So just click on here and edit. Now go to teaming and failover, and this VMnet you need to move down to unused uplink. So now you will see this is fixed. So now management port group having access to only management, and same do for this. So edit, traffic and saving. I'm going to move the management NIC to unused. Done. Now we have 2 VM port group, basically network port group created for distributed switch, and we have now we need to assign this thing uplink to distributed switch. So we have already done this. So we have added 2 NIC to both this network, and now the task is to deploy ESXi host to distributed switch. This is what we have to do. So if you go here, currently you will see no ESXi host mapped to this port distributed switch. So I'm going to add and manage ESXi host. So I'm going to add 1 ESXi host as of now. So I'm going to select ESXi2, click next. Now this is, you will see all the networks. So I'm going to assign this to MGMT1, MGMT2, then NIC1, VMnet1, VMnet2, and correct this. So these are all the 4 NICs which we have assigned as per our this plan. So last 2 NIC is already assigned to 1 switch. So this is good. Now click on next, and this is asking where you need to map this management port group. So I'm going to assign it to this thing, management 1, and now VMNIC 1, VMNIC 2. I don't think we need to configure anything here, so this is good. So this is for storage, I guess. So if I click here, this will be mapped with the storage. So I have assigned this to our management NIC, where our management NIC is going to be added. So this is good. Just click on next, and we don't have any virtual machine running, so that's why it's showing. So add 1 host, physical adapter 4, and reassign VM kernel adapter 1. Means the management network is going to be assigned from default to this one. So click on finish. Now you will see here task is going to be reinitiated initiated for updating the network configuration for host ESXi host 2. So you can see host is now showing here. So just we need to verify this. Once this task is finished, we'll go and verify ESXi host 2 that the NIC is coming or not. So now if I go to network on this distributed switch, you will see the distributed switch is applied here. So this is good. And now if I go here also, you will see VM network. Okay, it got some error, some task could not be completed, please. So there's some error. Okay, so it has a redundancy error. So basically if you see here my ESXi host having you can say total 8 NICs. So I forget to change this thing, so I'm going to make them on my main NIC, which is having management access and all. So now these all having physical access to my network, so this should be fixed now. So now if I go here and just acknowledge these, so I know now I fixed this because it was on some other network. So now it should not have any issue. So if you want here, go to your switch again, just verify this thing like host is good or not. So host having some alert, so we need to clear this alert. So basically you can remove as of now, and let's see. Okay, but now you can see the ESXi host is available with the distributed switch. So if I go to network, you will see distributed switch is coming, and also you can see the port group is coming. So now you can see error also went from here since it's we connected the network. So now I'm going to configure these networks also with the correct network, and then we'll add these hosts also to distributed switches. So I'm going to do that also. So done. Now I'm going to do it with this ESXi host 4. So now we'll try to add these 3 and 4 ESXi hosts to the same distributed switches. So I have done these 4 NICs. Okay. Now go to vCenter and go to switch and then host. You will see only host 2 is added, so I'll go ahead, add and manage host. So add host. Now I'm going to click host number 3 and 4. Click next. Same thing, I need to create configure the management NIC. So 1, 2, then VMnet 1, VMnet 2. This is good. Now click next. We need to migrate the management network to this thing, management port group. So this is good. Now click next. We don't have any virtual machine and all, so click next and ready. So now it will add both machines here. You can see machines is added here, and we don't have any event or error this time because we have already configured this with correct networking and all. So this is good. Now if you go on ESXi host, you will see here on the network side, on all the ESXi hosts, you will see this management network is assigned. So this is good. Now what I'll do, this ESXi host having one virtual machine which is running on this network. So I'm going to do this also. So this is the vCenter which I'm going to migrate this time. So we need to make sure we and very careful when we are doing anything with vCenter. So I'm going to do this. Let's have done this and verify everything good. So now I change the NIC on ESXi 01, which is hosting our vCenter server. So NIC is good. I'll go ahead and on the networking, you will see here currently it's not added to distributed switch. I'm going on distributed switch, right click, add host, click next, and then here click next and add, assign the NICs. So I have assigned all the 4 NICs. Click next. Now you will see this thing we need to assign to port group. Click next, and now it will show you the virtual machines also. So migrate virtual machine is showing. So network 1 virtual machine we need to assign to this network because it's going to use this VMnet, and we can select as per virtual machine also, we can select that. So this is good. Now we are done. Click on finish. So reconfigure DB switch is running, and now if I go to host, it should show you host also now. So now if you see ESXi host is added to this distributed switch also. So all our 4 ESXi hosts got added to this distributed switch. So now if I go here, go to configure on First thing, you need to check the physical adapter. So all of physical adapter VMNIC 0, 1, 2, 3, all this 4 NIC which is mentioned here from management and VM network got added to production DVC. So this is good. Now if I click on VM network VM kernel adapter, you will see here management, this first NIC which was for getting used for management is migrated to this mgmt-pg, which is coming from prod DV switch. So this is good again. And now if you go here, you will see management PG group, which is connected to 2 physical network adapter, and this is also VMnet connected to 2 physical network adapter. If you expand this, you will see the NIC name also. So VMNIC 2, VMNIC 3, VMNIC 1 and VMNIC 0. So this is all as per our configuration and distributed switch configuration. So this is good. Now this standard switch is not going to be used anymore, so I can go ahead and remove for switch 0, and switch 1 is definitely we are going to use for storage connectivity, so leave this as default. And same thing here, you will see you need to map the physical adapter, so I'm going to map here also. So if you come here and verify, this VMNIC is again going to management. So after deploying, you need to perform this thing. So what you can do here, now go to this switch physical and then assign the correct ports here, so and click OK. Now you will see this is going to be assigned. So 3 ports are there, and VM0 switch is still having this management network, so we need to go and remove this. So just come here and verify the NIC is these 4 NICs are assigned, the only VM switch 0 is not assigned. So let's go ahead and assign this also. So go here, add and manage host networking, click next, select your host, so 2 number host this time we want to go, click next, and then you will see all 3 here assigned to this port. I'm going to assign management 1 VMNIC 01 to this switch, and then assign a port group, just assign a management group, click next and finish. Now you will see it's going to update the information. So now if I go to ESXi host 02, you will see all 4 NICs are assigned basically to management. And if I go now on VM kernel, you will see the VM kernel VMK0 is assigned to process. So this is good. Now you should be able to, also you can verify from here this is correct. Now if you want to remove, you can go ahead and remove this also, switch 01 from ESXi host 2. So now this got 1 distributed switch and 1 standard switch for storage. Do it for 3. You will see here this is good. Management is already moved and nothing on a standard switch. So we can go ahead and remove. You can see no physical network also. So go to remove. I'm going and removing this. Come in VM kernel adapter. So wait for this. We got 2 switch distributed and standard switch 1. So this is already migrated, all good. So physical, you can see all 4 is assigned to DB switch. This is good. And let's verify here also all 4 are assigned to DB switch. VM kernel you can assign to prod DB switch. This is good. And switches also you can see management is assigned to correct. So this is good. I can go ahead and delete this vSwitch 0. So it is always recommended after deploying the DV switch, you go ahead and verify your settings once in all the ESXi hosts and make sure the settings are deployed as per your configuration, so you will not have any surprise later on. If someday anything has stopped working, you will identify like this switch is not deployed correctly. So this is how you can create a distributed switch and deploy distributed switch on your infrastructure or ESXi host or virtual machine basically. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe me for more videos. And if you have any query, any question related to this, you can always post my given mail IDs. Thank you once again. Bye bye.